So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The idea is very simple. We want you to get your MCQ practice done from current affairs because current affairs form a very important portion of your civil services examination. And covering 4 to 5 MCQs on a daily basis might seem like little effort, but these 4 to 5 MCQs would add up to more than 1200 MCQs if covered on a daily basis. More than 1200 MCQs, right? And these 1200 MCQs are from current affairs alone. I'm not talking about static subjects like polity, geography, history, because for that, we'll have separate lecture series. Okay? So make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine because if you cover 1200 MCQs from current affairs alone, you won't have to worry about them for your prelims examination. You won't have to worry about current affairs for your prelims examination. All right? Okay. So enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding reservations in India. Indian Constitution completely prohibits reservation on the basis of religion. As per Constitution of India, the President has the power to specify a list of scheduled castes. A member of SC community will avail the benefits of reservation after conversion to any other religion. Okay. So, look, Article 16, Clause 4 of our Constitution says that state government can provide reservation to any backward class if it feels that that backward class is inadequately represented in government services. Okay, so government can provide reservation to any backward class, and it can provide reservation to any religious backward class, caste backward class, any other backward class. But the thing is that the Supreme Court has made it clear that yes, you can provide reservation on the basis of religion, but religious based reservation shouldn't be the sole criteria. You can identify various religious communities, minority religious communities for reservation, but their religion shouldn't be the sole criteria. You have to also prove that they are backward. You have to also prove that they have faced historical discrimination, right? So religion cannot be the sole criteria. Sure, based on religion, you can provide reservation, and Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu have provided reservations on the basis of religion to Muslims. But being a Muslim cannot be the sole criteria. You have to prove their backward credentials as well. Okay. So it does not completely prohibit reservation on the basis of religion. It just says that religion cannot be the sole criteria, not the only criteria. So this statement is false. Now, as per the Constitution of India, as per Article 341, Clause 1 of our Indian Constitution, President can make a list of scheduled castes. So President has the power of identifying scheduled castes in the entire country and create a list out of it. Okay. Now, following this power, using this power, in 1950, President of India gave out a presidential order in which rules and regulations related to identification of scheduled castes were mentioned. All right. Now, under clause 3 of that presidential order, the president said, or under clause 3 of that presidential order, it is mentioned that scheduled castes will be only recognized for Hindu religion, Buddhist religion, and Sikh. That means if you belong to these three religions, then you can be recognized as a scheduled caste. If scheduled caste from Hindu, Buddhist, or Sikh religion converts to Christianity or converts to Islam, he or she shall stop availing benefits under scheduled caste. Okay, benefits under scheduled caste given by the government, and that includes reservation. So, as per the Constitution, the president has power. A member of SC community will avail the benefits of reservation after conversion? No. Until and unless they belong to these three religions, they won't have the benefits of reservation under SC category. Okay, so this statement is false. Only one A. Right? Question number 2. Which of the following statements regarding idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis are correct? It involves inflammation of lung tissue leading to irreversible loss of lung function. The exact cause of IPF is genetic abnormality since birth. This disease cannot be cured permanently, but symptoms can be managed through antifibrotic drugs. Okay. Now, recently, tabla maestro and 4-time Grammy Award winner Zakir Hussain died, right? The big tabla legend. He died in San Francisco, and the disease from which he died was idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Okay, he died of IPF. Now, what is IPF? It involves inflammation of lung tissue, basically scarring, damage to lung tissue, so much so that it causes irreversible loss of lung function. You find it very difficult to breathe, and that loss of lung function is irreversible. Okay, so this part is correct. Now, the reason why it is called idiopathic, because the meaning of the word idiopathic is without clear origin. This means that nobody in the medical community knows the exact cause of this disease. Nobody knows. People have made guesses. There have been some studies which have found out partial causes like genetic factors, environmental factors, smoking, and many other things. But no clear factor or causal factor has been found for this disease. So the exact cause of IPF is genetic abnormality is absolutely incorrect, because the word idiopathic means that there is no clear cause of this disease. Okay. Now, the problem with this disease is that it cannot be cured permanently. Okay, there is no permanent cure for this disease. You cannot reverse the damage to your lung function. Okay, but yes, you can slow down the progression of the disease. You can manage its symptoms. You can reduce its symptoms. Okay, through antifibrotic drugs. So these antifibrotic drugs actually slow down the progression of this disease. These antifibrotic drugs manage the symptoms, reduce the symptoms, deadly symptoms of this disease. So this part is correct, 1 and 3. All right. Question number 3. Which of the following is correct regarding India's external trade? Services exports generate more blue-collar jobs than manufacturing exports. Okay. India's largest import source is China, whereas largest export destination is USA. Demand for imports in a country is positively related with GDP growth rate of that country. All right. Now look. Recently, some data points were released with respect to India's external trade, and that those data points were released by Ministry of Commerce. And now the data point says that service exports have outpaced goods exports for the month of November. Okay, so services exports have been more than goods exports. Now, many economists say that this is not partially good news, okay, because services exports generate a lot of income for the country. But the thing is that services export is not good for India's employment situation. The thing is that services sector generates more high income jobs, okay, which we call the white collar jobs, coders, uh, pharmaceutical experts, managers. These are high paying jobs, white collar jobs. But the low paying jobs in the manufacturing sectors, plumbers, machine workers, these are called blue collar jobs. Okay. Now, services sector generates more white collar jobs. So this benefits high income groups more. Okay. But manufacturing exports generate more blue collar jobs, which actually help low paying income or low income groups, right? So services exports generate more blue collar jobs than manufacturing. No, it's quite the opposite. And that is why India needs to focus more on goods export, because this would generate more jobs plus more jobs for low income groups, more blue collar jobs. So this statement is false. Now, the largest import source for India is China. India, the biggest country, the biggest import comes from China. Okay, China has the largest share in India's imports. This is correct. And India exports the most to USA. So this statement is correct. Now, it is said recently that India's imports have risen. Okay, this data point released by Ministry of Commerce and Industry says that India's imports have risen. Now, it is said that the reason for rise in imports is rise in income levels of Indians. Indians' incomes are rising, that is why imports are rising, because more the income, more you demand for goods, and more demand is generated for imported goods, right? Now, Indians' incomes are rising because of rising GDP growth, right? So if Indians' GDP is increasing, income is increasing, import is increasing. So demand for imports in a country is positively related to GDP growth rate of that country. Absolutely correct. Okay. So the correct answer would be 2 and 3. And last, consider the following statements regarding the tundra region. Traditionally, the tundra region is the net emitter of carbon into the atmosphere due to incomplete carbon cycle there. Okay. Most dead organic matter remains trapped in permafrost in this region. Permafrost is a surface region that stays frozen for at least 50 years straight. Arctic soils store more carbon than there is in the atmosphere. Okay. Now, tundra region is the extremely cold region, which is permanently covered with ice, and this region lies at the poles, North Pole, South Pole. The North Pole region is known as Arctic tundra. The South Pole region is known as Antarctic tundra, right? Now, the thing is, if we are not talking about tundra region, if we are not talking about poles, if we are talking about other places on Earth, well, there is this phenomena called carbon cycle that happens in other places. Now, what is carbon cycle? Look, what happens is that plants use sunlight and they use carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, do photosynthesis, and produce food. Okay, this food is eaten by animals. Okay, this is the case. Now, carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere and it creates plants, animals. Now, when these animals die, when these plants die, then these animals and plants in the soil are decomposed by microorganisms. And these microorganisms, after decomposing these dead plant and animal material, release CO2 into the atmosphere. So the CO2 taken is released back into the atmosphere, and this is known as carbon cycle. All right. But in extremely cold climates, what happens is that these plants, food, animals, they are not properly decomposed by microorganisms because in extremely cold weathers, microorganisms become inactive. And because of that, this carbon cycle gets interrupted. And carbon dioxide is absorbed, but it is not released back. Okay. So extremely cold regions like the tundra regions are net absorbers, not emitters. They are net absorbers of carbon from the atmosphere. And that is good news if you want to combat global warming. So tundra regions are good for global warming because they absorb more carbon dioxide than they release. Okay. So it's not net emitter, net absorber. And yes, carbon cycle is incomplete in tundra region, but it makes it net absorber, not net emitter. Most dead organic matter remains trapped in permafrost in this region. Now look, what is permafrost? The top layer of soil, the top soil becomes frozen. Okay, it becomes frozen because of extremely cold temperatures. And if the surface of a region remains frozen for more than 2 years, it is declared permafrost. Okay, and tundra region is full of permafrost. It is because of this permafrost that carbon cycle gets interrupted and it becomes net absorber of carbon dioxide. So most dead organic matter remain trapped in permafrost. They remain trapped and they are not decomposed to complete the carbon cycle. So this is correct. Now, permafrost is a surface region that stays frozen for at least 50 years straight. No, for 2 years straight. Anything that remains frozen for 2 years straight is declared as permafrost. So this statement is false. Now, Arctic soils have been net absorbers of carbon dioxide. In fact, for the last so many years, since the formation of our planet, Arctic soils have absorbed so much carbon that they currently have 1.6 trillion tons of carbon trapped in their permafrost. Now, this is twice the amount of carbon that is there in the atmosphere. So, Arctic soils store more carbon than there is in the atmosphere. Absolutely correct. Okay. The worrying news is that now, because of global warming, Arctic region is getting warm, and because it is getting warm, permafrost is melting, and carbon cycle is getting completed, and Arctic region, Arctic tundra, is becoming net emitter. If that happens, then this 1.6 trillion tons of carbon would get released into the atmosphere, and that would further exacerbate global warming. So this is bad news, what is happening right now. The correct answer to this question is C. All right. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And please do not forget to revise this lecture. Right? Now, what do I mean by revision? Well, spend another 5 to 10 minutes and take a look at the written detailed solutions to each and every MCQ discussed above. Okay? Take a look at the explanation of these MCQs. Just spend 5 to 10 minutes. And trust me, if you spend these required 5 to 10 minutes revising this lecture, well, you'll be able to retain these MCQs in your memory for longer periods of time. Now, you can revise these MCQs from the notes provided by us, And these notes are available on our Telegram channel. Now, the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. All you have to do is just click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.